If you have a strong product, but you still are losing clicks to your weaker competitor, then this video might be helpful. Because today I'm going to talk about your main image. And one thing many sellers miss when they're thinking about how to improve their click-through rate. And this thing is your product packaging. In this video, I'll tell you and show you how you can improve your product packaging so that it attracts more clicks. Because you might add your product packaging to your main image. Maybe you heard somewhere that it might help your click-through rate, then you add it to your main image, and then you do not see improvements. Or maybe you see that your click-through rate got even worse. In this video, I'll explain why this might happen and will show you examples on how to avoid this. Now, when I say improve your product packaging for your main image, I do not mean that you need to reconsider your product packaging, manufacture the entire product line again with a new product packaging. No, what I mean is that you can adjust your product packaging for your Amazon main image so that it was more click attractive. You do not need to actually manufacture the new packaging. And right now I can already hear some objections like, you cannot change your product packaging. Amazon does not allow it. Then your main image would not be compliant. Well, first of all, the majority of your competitors who have a good click-through rate do not have a fully compliant Amazon main image, no matter what category you are in. If you do not trust me, you can just take some of your main keywords, type them in Amazon search bar and see the results. Just check the main images of some of the top performers and you will see that the majority of them are not 100% compliant. And your weaker competitor who gets more clicks also does not have a 100% compliant Amazon main image. And by the way, let me tell you a secret. Shoppers on Amazon, they do not care about your packaging at all. Why they come there is because they have some problem or need they need to satisfy. And for as long as your product solves their problem or satisfies the need that they have, they will not care about your product packaging at all. In fact, they will never even remember it. What they care about is only their problems, and that's it. But I'm not here to persuade you to change your packaging. It's for you to decide. But if you decided to improve your packaging to get more clicks on your Amazon main image, then I'm here for you. And let's jump straight to the example. This is the first example I wanted to show you. Now, I like that the seller decided to add their packaging to the image because it adds more color and increases the chance of attracting someone's attention when they are scrolling through the search results. But the color is the only benefit that this packaging adds here, while it could have added much more. Now, I actually see here two main issues with this main image and packaging specifically. The first main issue is no clear hierarchy. When you look at this image, it looks cluttered, it looks messy, and you do not really know where to look, what to read first, what to read next, and what exactly is going on here. And while you're trying to figure that out, you waste time. And time is crucial when we're talking about clicks because you literally have several seconds to win the clicks on Amazon because you are surrounded with competition. Here, I'm showing you one isolated main image, but on Amazon, you are surrounded with competition from each and every side. And if someone looks at your main image and they feel confused, if they have more questions than answers, if they do not understand where to look, then they understand that it is easier and faster to look at the competitor who has a simpler image and they get their answers much faster. And they will simply click your weaker competitor. And that is the first issue I see here. And the second one is the repetitiveness. Do you remember that I said that the color is the only value this packaging adds? While it could have added much more. And that is because it repeats absolutely the same information that is already provided on the product itself. It does not give anything new. And by repeating the same information, it creates more clutter and mess and confusion. And in fact, I would say that it might even hurt your click-through rate rather than help it in this case. Now, let me show you an example of how this same main image could look if we change the packaging. Take a look at this image. I think you can instantly tell the difference between the two because when you look at this image, the hierarchy is much more obvious because you see clearly three main sections that stand out more than anything else. It is the word sunscreen because it's literally orange and it's screaming at you. It's SPF 30 and it's 100% mineral. Most likely the shopper looking at this image will firstly read these three phrases and then they would go lower to the product, read face and body, then for men, and then if they want, they might also read the benefits that are described on the product packaging. Now, what this image does, it solves the hierarchy problem. It guides the shopper much smoother through all the information that is available here, and they do not feel confused. And what it also does, it also answers some questions and provides more information by avoiding the repetitiveness, because here the product packaging, the box, it provides new information rather than repeating the same information that is provided on the product. That is why this image is much more likely to win a click than this one that looks more cluttered. Now, I would also like to clarify that this image is kind of extreme, more created as an example, because I wanted to clearly illustrate the logic. While in fact, you can start with something simpler. For example, improve the readability of the main keywords, make them larger, maybe not change it that significantly, maybe leave just less information. What I mean is that you do not need to drastically change everything right here, right now. You can start slowly. You can start changing it step by step and then A/B testing it. I always recommend A/B testing because this example, as I already said, it's a kind of extreme example where we change the packaging very significantly. So we could still do some work on the packaging here, but as for the product, I think the product really started looking much better if we talk about clicks. Again, just to clarify the 2 points that we covered: hierarchy, how are you going to guide the shopper through this image, and how confusing and complicated this feels. You want to make it as simple and straightforward as possible. And I would never recommend adding repetitive information because it goes against the points that I've just described. Now, let us jump to the second example I've prepared. Now, it is my favorite part. Your brand name. I cannot explain how much sellers love their brand name and how much they love to add it everywhere they can. The first point I would like to explain is your brand name and whether you want to include it in your main image or not. I think it's not necessary to explain the difference between these two images because it is quite obvious, but I would like to explain actually the difference between these two images, which might seem very similar. Someone would say that they are identical, but I wouldn't agree with that. And the first thing that makes this image different from this one is the brand name. The first one, the left one, has the brand name and the right one doesn't have it. Now let me explain when you want to add your brand name and when you should not do this. If your product is searched on Amazon and purchased by your brand name, what I mean by that is shoppers literally write your brand name in Amazon search bar and they want to buy the product of your brand specifically, then yes, it makes a lot of sense to add your brand name to the main image and to the packaging. But for majority of sellers, this is not the case and people would search for more generic keywords. For example, electrolyte drink. And in such cases, I understand that you love your brand name. I understand that you have it actually on this box, but for your main image, just change it to your main keyword and it will help your click-through rate because people, they do not care about your brand name at all. They care about their problems and needs, as we already discovered. And in this case, they have a need of electrolyte drink. And when looking at this image, they're gonna think, what the hell is this? Yes, you have some text in here, but do you really think that someone is going to bother on Amazon when you are surrounded with competitors and the competitor on the right will have a large and clear keyword on their main image, which is going to scream electrolyte drink, and the shopper is going to think, electrolyte drink. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And they're clicking the product that is weaker than yours because they figured in 1 second that this is electrolyte drink. While your product was also an electrolyte drink, but it was not really written here. They read your brand name instead. And now let us talk about this small text. You might say, I wrote that this is premium electrolyte supplement right here on the box. What else do you want from me? The problem is the text that is not readable in your Amazon main image, which is gonna look approximately like this. It has zero value. So literally, if you have this text on your box, or if you don't have it, it makes zero difference, because if the text is not readable, you can consider that it is not there at all. And in this case, this text that is small and absolutely not readable, it adds zero value. It actually makes the image look more cluttered, and it does not help your click-through rate. And instead, you can remove all these small texts that people are not gonna read and just replace it with some valuable information. Yeah, maybe you will show less information than you could, but you will make sure that this information will be read and will be clear and provided in a simple way. As for the last recommendation I have for this video is A/B test your main image, because Amazon allows you to do this for free with absolutely zero effort. Just update a little bit your packaging and A/B test it, and you will see the result yourself. And to sum up, what we talked about is hierarchy. Keep in mind what exactly you want people to pay attention to firstly, and then how exactly you would like to guide their attention through your main image. Then think about how messy, how complicated it is. Think about how you can simplify it. Then also ask yourself, do your shoppers search for your brand name, or do they search for some specific keyword that is generic? If the answer is a keyword, then you might want to add this keyword to your main image. And after your main image is ready, look at it again. Are all the elements and is all the text that you want it to be readable actually readable? And if not, this text and this visual element adds zero value to your main image. And if it is the case, it's better to remove it so that you do not create mess and clutter with such elements that add zero value. Well, that was it for today. Please like and subscribe if you found at least some of the information I shared today useful. And if you need help with your images, feel free to send me a message. All the contact information can be found in the description, and we can together take a look at your current image gallery and create a free test image. That's it for today, and I'm wishing you a high click-through rate. Bye.